It didn't take more than a second for you to turn the whole world upside down. Turn this big boat back around. Had you been watching and waiting from someplace up above, somehow knowing in this place, among these people, I'll find love. And I cannot wait to get to know you, and to help you ease the troubles on your mind, and to walk by your side, holding your hand in mine. I'll treasure that for as long as I'm alive. You're welcome here, welcome here. Our hearts you hold hostage, that much is clear. You are most welcome here. You already have a way with people that your old man has yet to find. Please stay this gentle and kind. Oh, and none of us can wait to get to know you better, to see who lives behind those blues. And on your first day, doing anything new, we will always be right there with you. You're welcome here, welcome here. Our hearts you hold hostage, that much is clear. You are most welcome here. Welcome here. Our hearts been taken hostage by the sweetest little deer, and you are most welcome here.
All right, it is live from Indianapolis, Indiana, where it snowed yesterday, and now it's a mud bowl, and we're all ready to get going with this Thanksgiving week next week. We're so excited, and we're going to touch a button and see if this works, because literally I have not. Yes, there it is, Danny Shard on the other side of the screen. We're a couple minutes late because Danny, there's a lot of traffic in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and sometimes it's hard to get in the office because there are 3 roads. It's not a lot of people, it's just 3 roads, and they all have to get backed up sometimes. How are you, Danny? We've texted and talked on the phone, but we didn't get to do a live warm-up. So you good?
I'm doing fantastic. It actually is it's a beautiful morning here, and everybody's out and about.
That is. Awesome. Everybody's on vacation probably already. I mean, my guess is people show up today, and when do the ski slopes aren't open out there yet, right? We got a couple more weeks, right? Or
they usually open Thanksgiving or like the weekend after. There's a lot of snow already up in the high mountains. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good ski season for sure.
All right. Well, we will be taking your questions. Thank you guys for waiting a couple minutes. I saw the numbers just kept going up and then down and up and then down, but we're glad you're watching it live. Those who are watching it afterwards, you don't even know that it went late, that we started a couple minutes late. Today's topic is call center support, a deep dive. And really, it's kind of a variety of this. So Danny actually just returned from visiting one of our call centers. It's something that I wouldn't say we strategically jumped into, but we stumbled into in the last 4 years. And Danny's done a great job with his team jumping in and helping us figure out how do we manage, support, and help call centers and digital marketers that are doing not door-to-door sales all the time. They're not in-person sales. They're selling over the phone. They're selling through online ads and all those things and trying to help support that. And there's lots of ways to use call centers. Some of you are using small call centers. There are 3 or 4 people, or maybe a mini call center in your office. Some of these offices are doing hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of deals a month, and they have hundreds of employees, and there's a lot of churn, and they have lots of layers, and there's lots of ways to have different types of call centers. Danny, as you have evolved this and created our process, what I've seen from the outside is that assigning a dedicated relationship manager and the recruiter who brings them in is extremely integral to helping these offices who are not selling in person but selling remotely. That's really important to helping their success. Why is that, and would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they need just as much, if not more, support. It's a little bit challenging being in a call center environment. Gaining that trust with the merchant can be difficult. So you've got to find ways to, work deals through underwriting and be strategic with that while providing everything that we need. Handle risk situations with kid gloves because those can be challenging. And the conduit to all of that is going to be the relationship manager, and really the sales director that brought them in is going to stay engaged quite a bit as well. And really it's kind of an all hands on deck when we've got offices like this that are submitting the amount of business that they do, but also with the extra support that they need. Any of us are here to help, like we always are for any of our partners. But the call center partners seem to need a little bit more, and it's understandable with the amount of business they do and the way that they operate.
Well, and usually for most of our call centers, especially the larger ones, this isn't their first rodeo. They've been selling for a long time through call centers. Most people don't just spin up a couple hundred employees and put the phone systems together and all the things that go into putting a call center together. And this is not the tips and techniques to run a call center. I think, unless Danny, you want to do that type of training, I don't think either of us are supposed to train on how to use a call center. This is more about how we support a call center. What, if anything, I mean, like I said, this wasn't a strategic, but we just started working with people and said, hey, can you help us as a call center? And we kind of stumbled on it. And now we're realizing, okay, now we're going to put a program together. This is the first of us kind of talking about how we can support call centers. What, if anything, surprised you when you started working with these larger call centers where they are, some of them 50 to a couple hundred employees, that is there a specific support that you were surprised they needed?
Yeah, I think one of the things that surprised me is, and something I just didn't think about is how you've got multiple different salespeople and all of them are selling a little bit differently, right? So having that familiarity with how they're selling and how that's being explained to the merchant. So as we get communications from the merchant, we can support and kind of echo what they've been saying during the acquisition process. That's obviously challenging to say the least, because with these types of call centers, you can imagine how it's a revolving door of people coming in and going out from the sales side. You've got a handful of loyal, just killers that are just going to be there every day closing business. And then you've got a good group that's just going to constantly be in cycle where they're coming in, they're there for a little bit, they either realize it's not for them or they try to do it themselves or whatever it is, and they go right back out. So it's been unique from that perspective, and also on the cycle of people coming in and going out, they're in constant recruiting mode, constant hire mode, constant training mode. And obviously we want to be there to support that as much as possible, get them familiar with application processes, equipment solutions and options for different types of merchants that they're using or that they're going to be boarding, pricing structures, all of these things that we've got pricing or we've got training created for. So we really want to kind of take a lot of that off of their plate and put it on ours. But in a lot of ways, it creates a ton of extra work because we're constantly training on the same things to a new group of people. Our training team has done an amazing job in creating some recorded content with a lot of this stuff, so they can just cycle through it and make these folks sit through some videos, maybe take a little test that shows that they were engaged during the video, and hopefully they'll kind of soak some of it in, and that makes it a little bit easier as we're bringing some of these folks on.
Yeah, and one of the things I've noticed that's a big difference is obviously when you are selling and you walk into the restaurant and you have lunch and then you sell the owner on using a new point of sale or switching to a new terminal, or you drop your dry cleaning off and suddenly the dry cleaners are yours, you have a personal and understanding of what their business is. You understand that they're in business, that they actually are physically there. When you're using call centers, a lot of times they're using some type of inbound mechanism to be able to trigger that they can call them. They're calling them, but they don't really know. You can't walk into the business. They may be sitting overseas or in Texas and they're calling Maine or all. They just can't have that physical. And so it causes some application and underwriting obstacles that are different than when you're walking into a business and you're like, okay, this restaurant's been here for 7 years and I just had lunch here. What are some of those obstacles, Danny, that you see on the underwriting and application process that we've been able to overcome, kind of triage through, and what are those obstacles, and then how have we triaged them?
Yeah, so I mean, it's really trying to help the sales representative really kind of walk into those conversations and say it in a way that can be spun positive to the merchant, right? It's really a detailed explanation of why we may need some sensitive items like financials, like bank statements. These are things that are challenging for face-to-face reps to get, right? Imagine being a call center, having never have met this person, and you've kind of trusted them with all of your personal information, and now they're asking for more. I think all of us, or most of us on this phone, would be like, I don't know if I'd sign up with a call center, and I'm not sure that I would. But I'll tell you this: that the call centers that we have and that are using our services and that are closing a ton of business, they're really thorough. They come up with a great pitch and a trustworthy way for the merchant to share their information and get it into our system that's completely secure. A lot of them are using our online application, which is huge. We do the two-factor authentication. The merchant's not sharing anything with the person over the phone. And then they'll actually have them email, supporting documents into underwriting directly or into a secure link. So that way it kind of feels protected, and that this individual that they're talking to, who they've got some connection with, but they've never met before, right? They're able to still feel comfortable sharing some of that information. So that's a big part of getting through underwriting and really kind of getting some of this process smoothed out for these offices that are trying to get sometimes hard to place business approved when they've got so many barriers in front of them. A few other things that we'll do is we'll kind of be another voice for the partner, right? So we'll reach out to the merchant with the partner on the phone, introduce ourselves as the back-end processor, and that really helps. So some of these things, and again, with the additional support that sometimes call centers need, this is things that we've learned to do and learned to help with, and that it's really proven to help our partners not only feel confident closing a lot of these bigger deals, but feel confident just bring us the majority of their business in this type of environment, because we're going to jump in headfirst with them.
Yeah, and moving down that process, one of the things I was totally wrong on with our call centers, I said there's no way their activation rates can get anywhere close to our brick and mortar salespeople, where they actually walk in and put the terminal in, or they're on the installation day of the point of sale. And we've had several call centers that get to activation, which let's be honest, that's the most important thing in the PayProTec nation. We've got to get these merchants processing. That's how you make money. That's how we make money. That's how the merchants are making money. And so we've got to get them activated. And I was like, we can't do that over the phone. How do we support that? But Danny, we've seen we're getting 90 to 95, 97% activations on some of these call centers, which are higher than our brick and mortar people that are walking in sometimes. What support are we providing to be able to do that, to be able to get to that activation rate and help our merchants start processing that are coming through these non-present, I could keep on saying card not present, but let's go person not present solutions and opportunities?
I think as merchant level salespeople pounding pavement, we have a tendency to not give merchants enough credit. I think anybody on this call who's sold face to face is always willing to more or less overdo it, right? You're going to jump in to do everything for them. You're going to run that cable from the router to the front. You're going to hook that terminal up. You're going to put the paper in. You're going to do everything. And most of that's because you want to make sure that the merchant's using your system. But also, I think some of it is you don't want to inconvenience them. You don't want them to mess it up. And in a call center type of environment, they got to trust the merchant, right? The merchant, they've sold a good product and a good program. and now the merchant's got to do it. I do think that we see, in some cases, not all by any means, but in some cases, we see an increased activation rate with some of these call centers because they've got such a smooth process from closing the deal to discussing the next steps and here's what to expect. And then, Nate, you mentioned, having a relationship manager and a sales director that will continue to work with the office. These offices are doing that for their merchants, right? So the salesperson that's closing the deal is then handing it off to a relationship manager. Now, this is the main point of contact for that merchant moving forward throughout their relationship. And they're setting the tone for what's to come next, right? Your deal's been, or your application's been submitted. We'll let you know if we need anything else. Some of the common things we may ask for are bank statements, processing statements, things like that. As soon as your account's approved, I'll call you with the congratulations. I'll let you know when your terminal's set to arrive tentatively, and we'll schedule a training and installation. And it's just like clockwork. And I think that process is something that it's not as easy to do when you're face to face. It's just not, right? I mean, everything. You can do. Hey, I'm going to run over there. I've got time to run over there on a Friday or whatever it is. And with this type of process, it's just you're able to kind of streamline it out. And it works really well. We've got some other call center partners that are still figuring that out, and we're here to support them in those efforts. But our activation team on the back end helps with that too. So if they've got some of these processes in place, it's incredible some of the activation rates we're seeing.
Yeah. And certainly I see Charles, you asked a question, anyone else who asked a question, we'll get to questions here at the end. But I didn't particularly, I sent a list of questions I was going to ask Danny. This is slightly outside of that, but I think it's tied together. We have current call centers that are learning. They've been with us just a couple months, and then we have ones that have been with us for years, and they're learning the process, and you see that improvement. And what do you like? Some of those older ones that have been with us longer that I've seen go from, they have extremely high 90% activation rates. And when they started us, when maybe their average monthly merchant volume was like 12,000, and now they're like 25,000. What are things that are making them successful? And you know which offices, we're not naming names of offices, but you know which one I'm talking about. What are things that have strategically helped them be successful to make that change, to be able to go through all the caveats of the things, the obstacles that we talked about, but also improve that business the same way, where we're getting more margin, more volume in the sales process? Are there some things that pop out that make those particular call centers successful?
And it's really just confidence, Nate. I mean, as they have some of these processes in place, it's a well-oiled machine, right? And they've got the confidence to go after some monsters. Several of our call center offices has merchants doing well into the millions per month. These are accounts that are challenging to close. You got to know somebody who knows somebody just to get a meeting. So to hear that they've got some of these is impressive. But I think it's just it's applauded to their ability to create processes that are just proven, they're smooth. And whenever you've got things like that in place, your salespeople are more confident. They're able to sell to better merchants. The merchants are more confident as they're coming in with you because it's like clockwork. And you know exactly what you're doing, and you're driving the entire conversation. And that's important, right? If you're kind of all over the place, merchants realize that. And obviously that causes you to lose trust. So I think a lot of that confidence and the increase in volume, increase in activation rates, better merchants, it all just comes with confidence. And that's from having really good, thorough processes in place that really help you kind of streamline everything.
So going again, a question I didn't know you can handle, but I didn't forgive you ahead of time. So a lot of our partners probably today that are watching here in the future, that as they see this content, they're going to, maybe I'll connect, maybe I'll start a call center. Maybe I'll connect. I got an email just this morning from a call center in, I think, where was it? Somewhere in Africa. Hey, we have English speaking call centers that can call into the US. You have offshore, you have in the United States, you have all kinds of options. You have people in Canada and Mexico City, so many different things. And a lot of our partners think, hey, I'll start using a call center. I'll use appointment centers. We've seen successes and we've seen failures. What do you think is the difference for the partner when they start thinking, okay, well, I want to add on to my business. I've been hitting the brick and mortar. I would like to spend more time with my family or spend more time in my physical office, or whatever that reason is. We've seen some successes. We've seen some failures. Can you identify some of those things that might be what makes them successes and failures when they choose to use call center systems in their business?
Yeah, so with this type of model, I think it's important to understand the front end, the back end, sideways, everything about it. That kind of is what creates these businesses. If you're an independent partner or you've got a team of reps locally where you're at, and you've got a good business rolling, and you're considering doing a call center type of approach, or maybe adding to your team, right, and adding some people in house, maybe whether it's to create appointments or if they can start closing deals on the phone, more power to them, right? Obviously the overhead is fairly significant, right? You're paying these people salaries that are on the phone. Obviously, if you're driving in leads to them, then they can eventually go to commission only or partial commission only, something like that. But the leads are expensive, right? It's tough to see success just going down the yellow book and cold calling. In fact, you're not going to see much success at all. And Nate, I mean, you might be able to speak a little bit more on that than I do, but I think the biggest elephant in the room when it comes to call centers is just the significant costs that they have on lead generation.
Yep.
And getting those opportunities in front of their salespeople is tough. So at first you think, wow, I should do that. I can close more deals. I can make more money. And this is possible. PayProTec's got multiple offices doing it. And you're right. It's possible. But the significant amount of overhead to get you to production and actually get you to closing business, it's a lot. It's something to consider.
Yeah. And one of the questions I put in is what can we do to help with like the lead generation and those things,
Yeah.
And the hard part on that is it's not a one size fits all. That front end of lead generation, for those, if you're just getting started, it's a 3 to 9 month ramp up to really be able to start building those leads. And so when you're starting, these leads are going to be raw. They're going to not have, the systems aren't, whether you use Facebook or Google or Reddit, or we're working with people that are doing podcast advertising, all kinds of ways that you can do and drive hundreds and thousands of inbound ads, or leads. And we have, like, if you're interested, I'll offer this. And we said, I have a Google Drive folder of over now 6,000 both our ads and competitor ads. I just take screenshots of every ad that are in the merchant services industry. And I've been collecting this for years. And I've started now in the last couple months, I was like, I should just start sharing it. I call it my swipe file. And I just always have it in. But you don't know, the success is not guaranteed, and it is a lot of work to ramp up. And so those who are just getting started in lead generation, if you've already been in it, but there's a reason that we have people out there charging $200 to $500 per lead for warm leads, because it is a lot of work. And so we're not trying to scare you off, but we're also trying to caution you, because if you're willing to make this commitment, the opportunity is there. There are people and businesses that work with PayProTec that are doing hundreds, if not thousands, merchants a month, and they're making, pushing their residuals now into hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it is not an overnight thing, and it is not guaranteed, and you really need to understand the risk when you're getting into it. So going back, because I know it's fresh in your head just this week, Danny. What kind of, as you're like going on, you just went and helped train an office, you met with in person with an office that does call center as their strategy, but what continued training and development really are we able to offer and keep? Because most of our call centers, when the way they start doing it and the way they're doing it now and the way they'll be doing it next year is changing, and so does how we develop. How do we be able to move and evolve with them and develop and help to have the training and the skills to be able to help them?
Yeah, and really it's just staying engaged with them, right? Understanding their processes, understanding their sales approach. They really lean on us to keep the pulse of the industry, which is what we want, right? That's what we're here for. We're here to support them. We're here to kind of guide them on new opportunities, on changes. A lot of the changes with dual pricing, that we've kind of pushed out over the last 12 months. We've had to kind of retrain a lot of our partners, and training the call centers was another one, and helping them adjust their scripts, all of this, and that they expect that from us in a partnership, right? So I think that's important for all of our folks to remember too, is that it's, we're here to do everything we can to support these partners, And more importantly, we are going to be the news outlets for them. We want our partners selling, and then updating them as things change and as things progress or things pivot in another direction, or new opportunities come up. We kind of present it to them so they know and they can obviously capitalize on it.
Yeah. What I've loved watching you do, Danny, I think of several of our offices that you've worked with where you've been able to present to them. A call center usually goes for the easiest, lowest common denominator sale. And so a lot of times that meant, interchange plus 40 points or bips and less, or going after just quick exchanges. And you've been able to walk through them and say, hey, but if you would, maybe it's a harder sale and an extra phone call or a longer phone call and not as fast. But if you do this, you're going to make 120 basis points versus here you're making 15 or 20 basis points, and how that changes, and not focusing always just on the deal, but focusing on the quality of the deal and the margin and the volume in the deal. And as call centers focus on this, just like all the business, we've been able to do that. Is it just the money that's sparked that they're willing to do that? Or is it the ease of the offer and how edge pricing and differential pricing is just kind of the rule of the land? What's caused them to be willing to do a little bit of harder sale to get that more volume, more margin?
Yeah, I mean, it's more margin. And I think, like this office that we went to visit, they're dual pricing all the way. And I'm not going to say I'm a fan of shutting off merchants that don't want to do dual pricing, but that's really what's best for them right now with the phase that they're in and with the sales staff that they have. Is they're just trying to really keep it simple. They're not trying to cloud conversations with talks of interchange and basis points and doing the race to the bottom. And there's going to be some opportunities that they're going to miss out on, but I think that's okay as this is just another phase and a stepping stone in their process. They're about 8 months old, right? So they've been at this for less than a year. They've gotten up to 300 new merchant accounts per month. They're spending close to 6 figures in lead generation. I mean, it's expensive, and they're wanting to make sure each deal that they close, they're going to get a significant amount of margin on the back end from it from a residual perspective. So, and I think they have to with what they've kind of built up, right, to get a decent return. So it's something that eventually they have plans to, be open to all types of merchants. Obviously, they need some more educated salespeople to have those deeper conversations. They're eventually going to have a whale hunting crew that's just going to go after the big merchants and, do RFPs for certain opportunities and things like that. So they've got a lot of plans, and I think it's important to know where you're at in the process and that you're not going to go from 0 to 100 right away, and you're not going to be able to just sell to any and everybody right away. There's training that goes along with it, and there's a lot of moving pieces. So I think they're doing it the right way. They're spending an awful lot of money to get there, but they see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's looking good.
Yeah. And would you agree with the statement? Then we'll look for any questions for anyone who might have. But if you're going to switch or add call centers as part of your business profile and how you're selling, when you start out, you're going to work harder and spend more, significantly more than you think and imagine for the first several months, if not years, to be able to see that success. And the reward at the end is there and it's significant, but most people aren't willing to put the grit in it because it's harder work than just going door to door. Would you agree with that?
I would. I'm glad you said that. I was just about to say that. I mean, literally, going door to door, I think as seasoned sales professionals that I see a lot of names here that most of us are, it's almost second nature, right? You get up, you put both shoes on, you walk out the door, you go talk to a merchant, walking in, you immediately know how to make that connection, how to create some good banter and move forward with a potential deal. And, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't, but at a certain point as long as you've been doing it, even if you've been doing it for a year, it's second nature. It's very easy, right? This is a whole different animal, and the cost associated with it is significant as well. So that's something that I want everybody to realize is that these call centers are possible, right? And they can really significantly multiply your business, but to get there, there's a lot that goes along with it. So that's what I want to make sure that is not taken lightly, is that I can just jump in and triple my volume and triple this and triple that if I just start calling instead of going out and putting gas in the tank. That's not always going to be the case. But if you choose to do that, we'd love to help you.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We want you to know we're here to support you. We're here to help you evaluate if you're looking at it. Our team and Danny and his team are here to help you think through it and think through the possibilities. And we'll, obviously we want you to succeed, but we don't also want to give you false expectation and false hope. We'll take any questions you have. I know the first question is, Charles, can you share the script from the call center? If you email me at nate@PayProTec.com, I do have a folder just of some scripts that I've done. But I will also say this. In the age of large language models, the chat GPTs, the Geminis, the Claudes, whatever, they have access to all these things. And I've been talking to people who run call centers and chat bots and all the stuff. It's so much easier than it used to be for creating a script. And so you can take those scripts and customize it and change it. And we can probably even help you do a training of how you can customize these scripts to be better if you are running a call center, to be able to train them and use the chat GPTs to do that, because they're really good at building call scripts. And for those who were making a living writing scripts for call centers, I'm sorry, you need to expand your business, because this is one where AI is really, really good at it. So there are a lot of things it's not good at. This is one of them that they're really good at. So that would be my thing. I don't see a lot of other questions. Danny, I'll ask you this. If they are considering adding a call center, they're already a call center. Hopefully we have maybe some people in the future. Obviously we promoted this to mostly our internal people, but the goal of this, we may, if you're a call center and you're already working in the industry, or considering a lot of our call centers were selling something else and they say, hey, I'm going to start selling merchant services or point of sale or payments products. What would be the next step to getting in contact with you or evaluating whether working with PayProTec might be the right thing to do?
Yeah, I mean, reach out to me. You'll have my number on here. It's 281-301-1086 or Danny at PayProTec. I'd love to just talk and hear about your operation, what you're doing today, what you've got a pipe dream for, or what you think is a realistic goal for you. And let's just see how PayProTec can fit into that and how we can help and support you along the way. That's our entire focus, is just identifying what you'd like to do, talking through the steps and making sure we've got everything thought out, and making a game plan and helping you execute it.
That's it. All right. On behalf of Danny Shard, who fought through traffic to be here today, I want to leave this. This is our last live training before Thanksgiving. We'll have another one coming up the first 2 weeks of December. And then we have Holiday Palooza the week before, the Friday before Thanksgiving, Christmas is Holiday Palooza 2. We did it last year. This year we're going to do it better and bigger. Lots of gifts. Lots of people won. I know we're doing bigger. I think last time we gave $1,000 Amazon gift card. It was stupid stuff, all kinds, and tons of payments products. And we just had a lot of fun. We're in the planning right now, so plan on that. Danny, any closing words as we get ready into Thanksgiving, and greetings for our partners in Thanksgiving as we come up? That's 6 days.
I can't believe Thanksgiving's already here. The holiday season's just rushing up on us. All of us at PayProTec are so thankful for all of you, whether you're a current partner or a potential partner or anywhere in between. We just appreciate you being here, and we're excited to finish 2024 strong with all of you. And whatever your goals and dreams are for 2025, let us in on the secrets, and we'll see how we can help you get them done.
All right. On behalf of Danny Shard, which is that way, I'm Nate Manahan, and thank you for watching. We'll be back after we have, we'll take a week off. No content next week. A little quiet week. In the business, they say, hey, we're going dark. But we're coming back large in December, so the week of December 2nd. Make sure you're watching the emails. Thank you so much. We're here to serve any way we can, and we hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Bye, everybody.